All right, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing a beer from the More Brewing Company, and they're out of Huntley, Illinois, and this is their West Coast Double Dusty. So they're calling this one a Citra Double IPA that comes in at 8.3% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed time of review. This can is approximately 2.5 months old, and I'll give a huge thanks and shout out once again to a very good friend of mine and a viewer of the channel, Kenny, for hooking me up with this one. So big thanks to him. In the description box, I'll post a link to the beer mail unboxing video I did that contains all the goodies he hooked me up with, and never had anything from More. Really excited about this one. So I believe they do, they have a beer called Dusty, and I think it's a New England style like pale ale. I think it's like 6%, or maybe it's an IPA. And then they do a double version of that, and now they do a West Coast version of the Double Dusty. So really excited to give this one a go. I've been enjoying West Coast IPAs and double IPAs more so over the last 3 or 4 years than I used to when I first got into craft beer. So this one I'm really excited for just because it's a West Coast beer, and I'm hoping it's quite good. 2.5 months old, we should be fine, hopefully. Then we're good. Anyway, let's pour it into the Lost Alley Tiku, and yeah, pretty clear. In the glass, probably have a little bit of haze, but like pouring in, clear beer, baby. West Coast all day long, sons. Okay, so that has a clarity to it. Not super clear like a lager, but it has a clarity to it. It has like a nice orange, yellow color. Like I said, super clear. I poured it quite aggressive, so we got a 3-finger of a super creamy looking head. Very tightly compact bubbles. Just looks like it's not going to go anywhere. Looks beautiful. That looks beautiful if you're talking about a West Coast double IPA. Let's get a nose. Nice. There's pine. There's a huge earthiness in this one. I'm getting a little bit like malt, like bready and caramel malt sensation. A white grapefruit. There's another kind of like stinky fruit. Like an overripened like pineapple or something. It's a little bit of like a copper coin thing going on too. Like I used to get like when I would drink like an English pale ale or like an ESB or a bitter or something. There's a big pine resin or resinous pine quality. There's earthiness. There's a lot of like hop resin. That citrus is there, more of like a white grapefruit. Again, more of an overripened pineapple, a little bit of a copper coin thing. Underlying bready, caramel, biscuity malt. Yeah, smells pretty good. Let's get into it. Cheers, everybody. Thanks again, Kenny. Yeah. Oh man, the bitterness. Nice. It's nice. Body this one's like higher side of medium, 8.3%. Yeah, that's what you want. The mouthfeel has a real big crisp kind of character to it. It's not super effervescent, but it has like a nice real crispness. It's spritzy on the palate, but not overly so, appropriate for the style. Has a nice smoothness going down the back of the palate. The taste is kind of what I expect on this one. Now they say Citra, you know, they say Citra West Coast. Or they say Citra Double IPA, but it's basically a West Coast IPA. You know, it has Citra in it, but this drink's like an old school West Coast Double IPA. It really does. I think the flavors are maybe a little bit more tame than I'm accustomed to in like a very extremely well-made, like top tier West Coast Double IPA, but it's still really nice. Right up front, there's a bready caramel malt that instantly hits like the tip of your tongue, and then as it starts to progress through the palate, like the first quarter of the palate, it just dives underneath everything. It becomes a secondary, maybe even a tertiary player on the palate. Because right after that, I'm hit with white grapefruit, and it has more of like a bittering, like rindy kind of like pithy grapefruit. There's like a pithy orange, and then that overripened pineapple hits, and that's the pop of sweetness outside of the malt that I'm getting. But that fades real quickly as well. And then the second half of the palate is basically resinous pine, a huge earthiness, a gripping bitterness. This is moderately to maybe full-on bitter. I'd say more like just over moderately bitter. There's a semi-dry finish as well. So the first half of the palate is like, oh, you know, here's some citrus, here's some overripened pineapple, bready, caramel, slight biscuity tone. Hang on. Here comes the bitterness. Here comes the dryness. Here comes that resinous pine and earthiness. It's not amazing. I mean, to be honest with you, even though, again, I've enjoyed more West Coast beers in general when you're talking about IPAs and double IPAs, I think with this one, I think I'd like to see maybe a little bit more sweetness for my own personal preference. I think the beers that have a really nice front end sweetness and then back end like really, you know, moderately to full on dry, but also bitter. I think I like those more. I think this lacks a little bit in sweetness in general from the malt character and then the fruitiness from the hops. But a beer like this is always welcome to my palate. If you follow the channel, you know I'm drinking hazies, you know, heavily fruited sours, lagers, pastry stouts, barrel-aged beers. I try to throw in other stuff as well. By the time you see this review, hopefully, my plan is, and again, I don't know when you'll see this review, but in March, I want to bring back shelfie beer reviews, and I'm also going to do some Bourbon County reviews. That's the plan. We'll see if that holds true by the time you see this. That's the plan, because I've realized since I brought the channel back, you know, a lot of people have sent me beer, but I've also picked up beer myself, and I'm sticking to like 6 to 8 styles. I got to review more stuff because I like a lot of styles out there, and I enjoy and appreciate a lot of styles. And West Coast double IPAs, West Coast IPAs, West Coast hop forward beers in general are something I do enjoy more nowadays, so I need to drink more of them. And that's why I'm happy Kenny sent this one my way, because I think it's really nice. Again, not mind-blowing, but I think for what it is, they really did a good job with it. So 8.3%. There's a little bit of astringency on the palate. I know this is bigger. I think the body actually indicates that it's bigger to me. A little bit of warming into the chest. So I would guess like 8.5%. So 8.3, I get it. But like, it doesn't detract from the beer. It's noticeable. So not much more to say about this one. Like I said, a little bit more sweetness, and I would be going, you know, gaga over this one. But as is, I'm going to give West Coast Double Dusty from More. I'm going to give this a solid 4 out of 5. I think that's where it lands with me. I think, again, more sweetness. This would get into the low 4.25 range. But I think for a, you know, I think Huntley, Illinois is just outside of Chicago. So for a Chicago area brewery to brew a West Coast double IPA as well as they have here, kudos to them. I think this is really nice. It's not mind-blowing, but I don't think it's meant to be. It's a West Coast. Here's the thing. It's a West Coast double IPA. I would love to try the regular double dusty and also just their dusty. I would have loved to have those two first just to compare this to those two beers and see which one I like more, but whatever. Maybe down the line, Kenny can send me the dusty and the double dusty. That'd be really cool. Anyway, price availability, $16 a 4-pack. Yeah, that's fine. $4 a can for something like this, 8.3%, sure. The availability, I have no idea. This is where you come in. Hopefully, Kenny, I would imagine this makes it around the Chicagoland area. I don't think they get distro outside of Illinois. Maybe, who knows? I know I've never seen more in my neck of the woods, so that's why I'm really happy Kenny sent it my way. So if you've had this one before, let me know what you think about it. Post in the comment section. Have you had Dusty? Have you had Double Dusty? Have you had the West Coast version of Double Dusty? Let me know. That's the whole point of reviewing beers here on YouTube, is to hear other people's feedback. I like reviewing these beers and telling you what I think, but what I enjoy is going through the comment section every day and seeing what people comment on my videos and whether or not they've had it, what they think about it. Do they agree with me? Do they disagree with me? That's the whole point. It's the back and forth. It's the quid pro quo, as a good friend of mine, a fellow beer tuber, DJ over DJ's Brew Tube, would say. That's what I like. So hopefully if you've had this before, you'll post in the comment section. If not, I get it, but hope you do. Anyway, thanks again to Kenny. Thanks to everybody. Till the next one. Cheers.